Hiya and welcome back to the Avian directory. It's been a while since I've made a video. I know a lot of people who make videos do say that, but I really have been busy. I've had so much going on. I haven't even worked on the website for over a year, which I've just literally today started. This video is mostly about hospital cages. I wrote down a few things what I would like to go through. This is basically a hospital cage, incubator, transporter cage, or even a brooder, but it's all in one. And I know you can go out and buy separate cages for this and for that, and you just end up cages everywhere. Before you know it, you've got a cupboard or a front room or something full of these little cages. And I didn't want that. I just wanted everything all in one. So if I needed it as a brooder, I can literally use it as a brooder. If I want it as a hospital cage, I can use it as a hospital cage. Or if I need, if I'm going to a bird show and I buy a couple of birds in the middle of winter and I'm worried about the temperature in the vehicle being too cold during transportation, I can put it into the hospital cage, maybe plug it into the cigarette lighter, as if they still got them, and take the bird all the way home and keep it warm all the way. You probably get 2 small birds in it if you're very lucky, but I mean, depending on how big you want it. The dimensions that I've got for this one here, you probably get 2 in there. I mean, some people probably cram a little bit more in there, but I wouldn't advise it. This hospital cage, I wanted to show you what it looked like when it was working first. But before I move on, I would like to, I just want to give someone a mention because it's very important. I got this through the post, and this is the Bengalese. This is a really good magazine. It's not an advert. I don't get paid. It's nothing like that. I know people want to advertise stuff and they always expect money, but it's nothing like that at all. It's just basically for information for anyone who's interested in the Bengalese finches, also known as the society finch. The magazine of the National Bengalese Fanciers Association, and they have been going quite a long time. And I was quite surprised to get this through the post. And I had a quick, at first I skim read it like I normally do most things. I'll just quickly breeze through it and, just see if there's anything of interest. And then I'll go through and read the whole thing in detail. And which of course I've done both. And I found this to be really good. So, I mean, you may not be interested in Bengalese, but there again, there's a lot of people who are and don't know about these. I'll post some information. I'll put a picture hopefully in the video and show you more information about it. I mean, I was quite surprised as well. They even mentioned me by name in there, which I never expected that at all. It's quite an honour, really. Also, they also mentioned briefly about our site, but it's not just about me. This really is about you. So, and to show these people some support, if you're thinking about registering, signing up with them, whatever. And keep up to date with all the information. But this thing is packed full of information, everything you need to know. And even I was surprised how much information was in there. So yeah, by signing up, you'll probably get to find out a lot more. It just tells you so much. It's got also about Planet Aviary. Planet Aviary is very good. I quite like them. I'd not heard about them that long ago. It's been about a year or 2 since I really heard about them, but they are good. They have some really good videos. Got a good video channel as well on YouTube. So if you've not heard of them, Planet Aviary is definitely worth signing up for. They made a lot more videos than me. Obviously, they got more time than me. I just don't get that much time. But they have got some very informative stuff on there. And the presenter's quite good as well. I quite like the presenter. So yeah, they got all the prices and stuff like that in here. Whereabouts they are, and tells you all about the shows that they do, when and where, any prices, got contact details in there as well. So you can order cardboard nesting boxes and stuff like that on there. This just got so much stuff, and it's got breeders. It was an NBFA breeders directory. Again, there's pages and pages of it. So if you're interested in something like that, it's got lovely pictures in there. Whoever took these pictures, they took a really good shot, because I really like those. I really like all of those. I mean, I've had quite a lot of these birds anyway, you know, but it's still great to see them. And it's a shame really, because Bengalese finch is so underrated for what they are. I mean, they're sold very cheap, and they're worth so much more than what they're sold for. I mean, I don't just mean money wise, I mean for what they are. I don't care about the money, it's just a bird, the quality of bird, you know. I think they're just so underrated. But they've got so much stuff in here, so much information. It's worth signing up with them. And, you know, get all the nutritionists in there as well. So I will post some information online on the screen, and all you have to do is go back and freeze it so you can get the information from there. And I believe they've got a group as well that you could probably sign up as well. So, and it's great that if you need to know anything about a Bengalese society finch, these are the people. They're really good. They know what they're talking about. Anyway, so back to the main video. I wanted to show you what this looked like when it was working. I don't want to make this video too long, because the phone cuts out and you have to end up making another video and join them together. So I'll switch this on. There you go. I haven't screwed it together. I've left it unscrewed because I want to dismantle it and show you. The first thing I wanted to do was just show you it in working order. Now, I bought this. You don't need to buy this. To build one of these, you need two things. You need parts and you need patience. That's the two things that you'll need. When you've got those, you can build it. Now, I bought this to test it. And what this does tells you how many volts and how many watts and amps that it uses. So I tried it out on a minimum and a maximum. The amps don't really matter for you, and the voltage don't really matter as not really. It don't really matter, because it's going to be 12 volt, no matter how you use it. But the wattage, I found it uses around 30 to 35 watts. It depends, and it also depends on the weather. I mean, it could use up to 40, but it's so low wattage, it's not going to burn absolutely anything on your electric. So this just measures it and tells me what it's used, what the power consumption is. But you don't need to do that. So that's something. This is quite expensive, but you won't need to buy it. So just you leave that out of the equation. That was just for testing purposes, because I wanted to know for the video how much. Because some people will say, "What's the power consumption?" But it's 12 volt. Has an adapter in the back. Let me quickly spin this around and show you. It's got one of these. That's 12 volt, 5 amp. I've used 5 amps because I wanted to make sure that this device don't get hot, and it can supply enough current to it and the wattage, so it's not going to get hot, and it's going to last a lot longer. That's the only reason. This on the back, I made all of this. That's your on and off switch. So even if you turn that off, the whole thing is completely isolated. It's no different from doing that, really, because the way it's wired on the inside, it's complete dead cut off completely. There's no wattage or nothing being consumed inside. My birdie's been playing on top. Right, so we switch it back on. I'll explain what these are. One of these is for the lights, because it has an LED light inside, which I built myself, and I will show you that too. One, it turns it off completely, and that one happens to be the fan. That one is the fan control, so you can have it still air, so that there's warmth if you want it, and basically there's no fan, so there's no air movement, because you may have a bird that don't really want the fan blowing on it. And if you want just a little breeze, you can turn it up a little tiny bit like that, or you can turn it up full, and you can hear it, but it's very, very quiet. I mean, you could have that sat next to your bed when you're sleeping, and you just wouldn't notice it going. And you know, maybe when it's full blast, you might just hear something. But and the other one is the light. The light you can turn off completely, or you can dim it. It's on a dimmer, so as you can hear the click. So let me show you. So I'm going to leave the fan on. Coming off. We don't want that coming off yet. Right, this is what it looks like. There you go. That's maximum, and it's not really burning anything. It's only a few watts. which is nothing. I mean, it's not blind. It's not an intense blinding light either for the bird. I mean, as I say, it could be used for an incubator as well, or a brooder or something like that. So the last thing you want is, you know, if you've got a bird that's ill, is an intense light. You don't need that. You need something which is more ambient, which is what I would say that is. This I'll go through quickly. When you buy one of these, what that does, it's a sensor control. It's a temperature sensor control unit, and I paid about £5 to £7, somewhere between £5 and £7 for it from eBay. And when you buy it, you get one of these. It's a little booklet. Tells you how to program it. It's got it in different languages as well. I think it's Chinese and English, or maybe some other language. I don't know, but it's got 2 different languages. Most important is obviously English. Pretty much everyone knows English. Shows you also the wiring diagram as well, so if you don't know how to wire it when you buy one, it will show you anyway. So I say that's the, excuse the stains on there, I've dropped my tea on that a few times. So it's not complicated. I don't need to go into the details on how to program it, but what that, I've programmed that, as you can see there, that's the cut-off point. When it gets to 30 degrees, is it Fahrenheit? I'm getting confused now. Yeah, when it gets to 30 degrees, I think it is Fahrenheit, sorry, when it gets to 30 degrees Celsius, it will cut off. So what happens is only the heater will cut off. So like you've still got the fan going, so it's moving the air around, and then when it gets just below, when it gets like 29.5, it will come back on again. So it stays between 29.5 and 30 degrees. If it goes over 30, it will cut off. 30, sorry, when it's I think it's 30.5, that it will cut off. But I'm sure it's 30. But it doesn't matter anyway. A 0.5 a degree is absolutely nothing, has it? Even if you're using it as an incubator, it would make no difference at all. So that's how that would work. Right, let me just, oh yeah, I better quickly explain this. This tells you the humidity inside the unit, the whole thing. Obviously, with the heat in that is different, because the heat down here will be slightly cooler than what it would be at the top, because heat rises. That's where the fan comes in. It pushes it around, so the whole unit would be very much the same. But the sensor is actually measuring the temperature. Right, let's take this off. As I said, it won't screw together. I wanted to keep that like that to show you. I can slightly feel the fan go. At the back I've got like an insert of a pen. I used a pen because I've got a little sensor that drops down into that tube, and the bottom's cut off with just about half a centimetre poking through, so it can measure the temperature at the bottom. Now I'm watching that, and that's climbing. It's getting warmer and warmer as the element gets hotter. But the element don't get hot, it just gets warm. So there's very little risk of fires and stuff like that. Right, let me turn all this off because you don't need that on now. The door I could explain. This is quite complicated really. I mean, the way I've made this is I put a little handle on there and just glued a little bit of Perspex on top, because that's all that is, just Perspex. And then you can see the little bit I glued on. That part there, it's got a recess in it, so that it sits a little bit, the plastic sits just below this all the way around the edges. And then I put, that's felt that I've used on the inside just to stop it from scratching up the glass. If you can see the blue felt around, and I've also got felt on that side as well, so that when the front goes on, etc., you don't get no scratching. It's not going to scratch the glass up, and there's nothing, you know, making it difficult to slide backwards and forwards. It just slides freely. It's a little bit tricky to make. I mean, you could do it with a router. We call it router, but in Americans they call it router. So, yeah, don't be too disheartened with all the wiring. I mean, you can do it a little bit more fancy. Well, I don't think you're going to get much fancy than that anyway, but you can do it a bit more crude if you wanted to, where it's just wire to wire. I just wanted it to make it look nice because it's something that I want to keep for some time, and you know, when the time comes or whatever, I can pass it on to someone else and it will last years, because this is all mahogany on the outside, and on the inside it's just basically stained plywood, marine ply. and I use 3/4 inch chipboard all the way around, marine ply again, so it's going to last a very long time. This on the inside is 9mm ply, so the tray I call it, and it's a little bit, to get it all out is yeah, it's a bit of a trick, but I'm going to pull this part now. So right, these here, I bought these little things online, they cost literally pennies, and they can go together both ways, but it's how you wire it. If you wire it the other way, they won't work. If you wire it one way, you plug it in, it will work. So it's not going to damage anything, but you really need to know what you're doing when you're wiring that up. This here was a little bit tricky. I use Perspex. I use 5mm Perspex, 5mm in thickness. And what I've done is I've used inside, just a motor from a power supply. I think it's a 4 or 5 inch. It looks like a 5-inch fan. And underneath the fan, I've put like little barrels. Just all they are is just dowels, a little bit of wooden dowel, and I've cut little grooves into it. And then I bought some special wire, and it's called, I believe they call it hobby wire. And what it is, it's actually resistance wire, and the measurement of that has to be per meter. It has to be 100 ohms per meter. So I believe it's 100 ohm. I'll put a correction up on the screen if I'm wrong. It's either 100 or 10 ohm, and that's the ohmage is very important as well. So I have to try and remember that now. I'm going to check. Yeah, it's either 100 ohm or 10 ohm. I think it's 10 ohm. And I didn't use the whole meter. I just went round basically, what have I gone round? It's like once, maybe 1.5, 1 3/4 times. I mean, the more times you go round, the longer it takes to heat up, which means you could be waiting a long time. If you go round, I should have only gone round once really. One full turn would have been enough. It would have got pretty warm pretty quick, but I don't want to get it too warm too fast because it will just burn out quicker. So, and I don't want that. So what I've done is I've used 5mm ply all the way around, and I had a spare bit of plastic, and then I cut a small hole in it just to fit with the motor, and I've drilled holes, and I've encased the whole thing together and screwed it onto the board. Now the reason for that is that it pulls the air through. The suction is going that way, so the air is up the top and it's going through. It goes out for the vent here. It goes into the bottom unit, so the air is going through, goes into the bottom unit, and it gets sucked back up through these two holes, and it will go around. It will recycle the air again. And I'm going to quickly take this off. This is what I built. This is the LED light. You quickly undo the screws. I thought it'd be easier. To dismantle it on video rather than trying to reassemble it on video. I don't want to take the back panel off neither, because but these are the lights that I bought. All it is, I bought a packet of these, one reel. They're just clear LED lights, that's all they are. And I used the waterproof ones, because obviously if you've got water in here at some point, because if you're incubating or something like that, or you've got a sick bird, you may want to keep a little bit of water in there because they could dehydrate very quickly. And the idea of that is it just helps protect the LEDs longer, and that's all it is. All I've done is I glued them down, and if you look very carefully, you can see how I've soldered the wires together. Hopefully you can see. It's not very difficult. What does matter is that you follow pluses to pluses, and then you do the minus to minus, and the same on the other side, and eventually you'll end up with just a plus and minus, which you put the load on. So, and that's it. And of course, with this I had a groove on both sides where the tray can slide right the way in, and there is a slight groove on the back as well, so it fits into it. I don't think the measurements are that important, because you may want to make a bigger one or a smaller one. I mean, if someone really wants measurements for it, I mean, I could probably give it to you. I could probably put it on the site or something, but for the video, I'm just thinking about speed, time, and I will show you the back. Might as well. No point in going halfway up the ladder. So the back was everything on here I built myself. even the lights, the fan, the heater, and the control unit. This is what I built. It looks scary, but it's not. You can buy these online for about, I don't know, £4 or £5 each, and all they are is just micro dimmer switches. That's all they are. And I can't remember the voltage. I'll give you the details of these anyway. That's just a switch from an old power supply from a computer, and I bought that switch, the socket, that one there, the connector, and it's just a standard one for a regular sort of power supply of usually a hard drive or something like that. But this one is like really for the incubator, so it won't matter. It doesn't matter what size you use, as long as it's the same size for the plug that you, as long as the plug fits into there, that's all right. And wiring it's not really difficult either. They usually get a wiring diagram with it. So I mean, I've been doing electronics for about 50 years now. So I mean, something like that is very simple. But for someone who don't know anything about electronics, I'm quite happy to help in any way that I can. Give you the wiring diagrams, whatever you need. But I just thought I'd just show you what you can build for next to nothing, really. I mean, if you take away the wood, all you're looking at is, you're just looking at a couple of micro switches. You're looking at that, and that's not even important. That's more for if you'll use it as an incubator. And the size of the cage matters. The bigger the cage, you may need to add 2 coils in, heating coils in there. You won't need to add another fan, because I think 1 fan will be enough to power 2, as long as they're stacked on top of each other. And then you just you do them not parallel. Well, yeah, parallel. I'd wire them in parallel, which means it's something you're going to have to Google. Wiring something in parallel, not in series. Series means end to end. Parallel is that way. So when you wire them, you end up you fork off the pluses to each plus and the minuses to each minus, etc. So we use more current, but it just works better that way. So it also makes heater heat up a little bit quicker. So yeah, if you have any questions on it and you want to ask me, I'll say feel free. But I found this already to be useful. I haven't made the holes in the front yet, the breathing holes, which is important. I'll probably put about 3 holes on there, maybe 6 to 8 mil holes or something, maybe even 10 mil. If it's not enough, I'll just add another hole as I go along until I find I get the right balance. I don't want to put too many holes in there, or else it just takes longer to heat up. But you do need holes in there, because obviously if you've got a living creature in there, they're going to need fresh air. So that's something to bear in mind. Spider on there. I haven't put feet on there either, and I haven't put a handle on it. That's the only things I need to do, and it's complete. And you're probably wondering about perches. Perches, I haven't decided yet how I'm going to do it. I will probably drill holes in the back and use screw inserts. Put the inserts into the wood, and then on the end of the dowel I will put like a screw sort of thing. So I can screw the perches as high as I want them, as low as I want them, or add extra perches, or just take them all away. So, and I want to use brass inserts, because brass obviously doesn't rust. So that's all I've got to really show you. So I just check, make sure I haven't missed anything. Yeah, putting it together don't take too long, really. I mean, as long as you've got all the parts there and you've already made, once you build the box first, building the box is the main thing, because you want to build it to the dimension you're having. I mean, this is really for small passerine birds, etc. It's no good putting something like a blackbird in there, or a crow, because you're just not going to fit them in there. So you'd have to build a bigger one, much bigger, And of course, as I said, you would need maybe 2 heating elements, maybe even 3 or 4, depending on the size of the cage. I mean, if you're building one 4 times this size, you're going to need 4. You're going to need 4 of those heating elements, and maybe, well, yeah, you'll need a bigger LED light in there as well. So you'd be looking at more current consumption. So instead of being 35 watts, you're going to be looking at like 140 watts or something like that. So I believe 70, 140, about 140, 150 watts maybe. So yeah, as I said, it can be used as an incubator, hospital cage, transport cage, or brooder. Maybe you find some other uses for it, and you don't have to have all these cages everywhere. It's just one cage, it does all. So, and if you're using it as an incubator, it'd be a good idea to put a little dish in the corner, a bit of sponge of water, get like a little sponge. One of these is usually good, and just give it a little gentle squeeze and put it in the corner, and that way it'll keeps the hydration. And that will tell you, that little gadget on there will tell you that will tell you what the I think it's got temperature in there as well, but it tells you what the humidity is, and humidity is very important, so it gives you more control over it. And I did paint the inside with eggshell paint. The reason why I used eggshell paint is because it tends to be waterproof. I find it has a nice, it holds the colour quite well. It doesn't go yellow or anything like that for quite a long time, and they're very easy to repaint. So you just rub them down and give them a repaint if ever needed. So, and they don't stain very easy, so it's more clean. So if you've got any questions, feel free to ask. And thanks for watching.